Good evening, Americans. This is your favorite alien and Bubba here on Monday, October 14th. Well, it's a legal holiday for Columbus Day. Yeah, fun, huh? Well, I wanted to do a commentary today and call it The Case Against Socialism. Well, I looked at the excerpts of Senator Ron Paul's book, A Case Against Socialism. And Senator, my hat's down to you. Uh, you seem to be on the right track there. And yeah, I understand what you're saying about AOC and Bernie Sanders and people like that. And the question that I have is, what happened to the Democratic Party? Remember, the Democratic Party was very much anti-national socialism back in the 1930s. Why have they turned to socialism? What has changed in 70 and 80 years to make them turned into socialism? Is it because of the people that's in the Democratic Party now that are not American? As in AOC, Omar, and people like Bernie Sanders, who doesn't know which head is up? How did he become senator from Vermont? And by the way, what is he doing in the Democratic Party? Isn't he an independent? And what's he doing blasting poor Elizabeth Warren and saying that she likes capitalism? Isn't capitalism the lifeblood of this country? Really? I don't get it. What's wrong with you Democrats? First, you don't even know how to conduct an impeachment. And then, you want to be socialist. You know what that'll do to the country? And then I saw a little excerpt from The View the other day when they had Mr. Paul there promoting his book and they wouldn't let him talk. And they were blasting him for putting up Venezuela. Well, Mr. Senator Paul, I mean, Venezuela is something that you can put up there, but you should have also put up there Chile in the 1970s under Salvador Allende. The Dominican Republic, who got invaded by the United States in the 1960s and then had a succession of Joaquin Balaguer and Juan Bosch. That almost destroyed the Dominican Republic there. And don't forget Cuba. They're very socialist there. And look what that's done to the country. They needed the money from the Soviet Union. Once the Soviet Union left, Cuba collapsed, and it's a disaster. They said, oh, I remember when I was growing up in the 60s and early 70s, Cuba has the best medical system around in Latin America and the world. Yeah, that's what they say about Panama now. But Panama never became socialist, totally. It tried. Arnulfo Arias tried 3 times to be socialist because he was a Nazi. And 3 times he got deposed. I mean, that says something about that, when you depose your president 3 times. But it also says something about that when the voters select him 3 times. That says something about the voters' mind, doesn't it? Was your voters today the mindset of the Panamanian voters in the 1940s and in the 68 election? Really? That bad? Because I consider that the absolute bottom pit of my country, Panama. The 1968 elections. That was terrible. And then we had to sit through 21 years of military dictatorships. Whether it was benevolent under Torrijos or disastrous under Noriega, with U.S. blessing, of course. Noriega had the U.S. blessing, otherwise he wouldn't be in power. They killed Torrijos because he was trying to be non-aligned. He didn't want either socialists nor capitalists. So he was a non-aligned guy. That way he established diplomatic relations with Cuba, The Americans didn't like that, so well, that's a different story. But socialism doesn't work. Noriega tried it from 1983 to 89, and it destroyed Panama. Look at that. It's been 30 years since the U.S. invasion of Panama. And by the way, you guys funneled the reconstruction of Panama because of you guys' invasion. Almost $500 million you poured into that. But you don't tell the American people, do you? Because that was a disaster. Look at how much money you spent in the Dominican Republic in the 1960s. Guatemala. Nicaragua. You spent a lot of money on that. And what did you get? The Sandinistas. Somoza tried to run the country socialist, didn't he? Both Somozas, father and son. And then there was a disaster for Nicaragua, which they haven't recovered to this day. Look at Panama. It changed its system. It changed the way it does business. And now it's one of the most flourishing countries in the world. But then again, remember, Venezuela was that way back in the 1980s. You guys, oh, Venezuela's got the best things going around. And then they elected Carlos Andres Perez for his second term, and he took the country down to hell in a handbasket. It wasn't Chavez, it was Perez who did that. Chavez just became a socialist that the people wanted to find something to hang on to, so they voted him in. So I don't understand your Democratic Party. Why are you promoting socialism? Why do you have AOC and Sanders and people like that in your party? They belong in the Socialist Party of the Americans. You have one. Why don't they run under that? Because they'll get no votes. But you'll get a lot of money under the Democratic Party. That's a sham. This is your favorite alien and Bubba saying, a case against socialism. You guys here in America have always been capitalism. Whether it's good or bad, that's who you are. Why would you want to be not individual, but a group? And only a small group, in fact, of that. And all the other ones get left out in the cold. Do you want that? It's bad enough when you have a group of individuals here that run the country, and the rest of them get left out in the cold. But that's capitalism. But how about a small group, and then the whole other groups get left out? Is that what you want? Well, anyway, like I said, this is your favorite alien and Bubba. Good day.